Heya, cryptozens. Tonight's stories. SEC Chair Gensler gets pushed for clarity. Will Russian sanctions lead more countries to adopt CBDCs? Apecoin. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time and the date is March 16th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We bring you news stories on familiar topics. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Now, if you're new here and you find that you like this show, subscribe and rate us. If you're on Spotify, you can do that right from the app. Give Tex and I 5 stars. It'll help other people find their way to this podcast. So, legislation happened. In Ukraine, Bitcoin is now legal tender. Previously, it had legal status, but now it's actual money. Zelensky signed a bill named On Virtual Assets, and that bill first went through the country's legislature in February. Crypto exchanges and firms handling digital assets have to register with the government to operate legally in Ukraine. Now, banks can now open accounts for crypto firms. Their National Securities and Stock Market Commission has the power to determine the country's policies on digital assets. They can issue licenses to businesses dealing with crypto, and they will be acting as a financial watchdog. The Ministry of Digital Transformation tweeted, quote, "Ukraine has legalized the crypto sector. Zelensky signed a law. From now on, foreign and Ukrainian cryptocurrencies exchanges will operate legally and banks will open accounts for crypto companies. It's an important step towards the development of the VA market, the virtual asset market in Ukraine." Now, I do hope this helps. Before we get into tonight's stories, let's take a quick look at the markets. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.82 trillion. That is a positive 4.06% on the day. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 4.46%, Ethereum up 5.66%, Tether, Binance Coin up 3.59%, and USDC. The global NFT market cap is just above 10.07 billion. That's up 11.72% in 24. The top 5 NFT collections on OpenSea by sales volume are Bored Apes up 372%, Mutant Apes up 337%, CryptoPunks up 129%, Clone X down 17%, and Azuki up 59%. Now, keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. SEC Chair Gensler gets pushed for clarity. This was in a letter sent to the Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler. It was sent from Representative Emmer and 7 of his colleagues. And when I say they're pushing for clarity, I'm not sure that it's what you're thinking. You see, what they're pushing him on is for some insight into how they get their information from crypto companies. It also asks the chair to put an end to time-wasting practices such as asking multiple times for the same information. In a tweet dated March 16, Minnesota Representative Tom Emmer wrote, quote, "My office has received numerous tips from crypto and blockchain firms that SEC Chair Gary Gensler's information reporting requests to the crypto community are overburdensome, don't feel particularly voluntary, and are stifling innovation." And Rep. Emmer went to the Paperwork Reduction Act. Citing that act, he wrote, quote, "In seeking information from the American public, federal agencies must be good stewards of the public's time and not overwhelm them with unnecessary or duplicative requests for information." Co-signers were Warren Davidson of Ohio, Byron Donalds of Florida, Ted Budd of North Carolina, Darren Soto of Florida, Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts, Josh Geitheimer of New Jersey, and Richie Torres of New York. The representative's letter asks why the SEC's enforcement division is spending time investigating unregulated crypto firms. Why are they doing that rather than keeping separate the agency's investigation and enforcement units? Emmer noted that this was a recent trend that is inconsistent with how the SEC investigations are usually initiated. They also want a year-by-year breakdown of the quote-unquote voluntary document requests sent by the SEC. This would be voluntary requests sent to crypto-linked individuals, entities, and project teams over the last 5 years. Also in question was whether individuals had been told any informal investigations launched against those people or their firms. The letter asks for a response by April 29th. There is at least one supporter of this. The Blockchain Association said that they were proud of this, quote, bipartisan effort they called the representatives champions, ensuring the U.S. remains an innovation leader. Will Russian sanctions lead more countries to adopt CBDCs? An ex-central banker thinks more countries will be adopting central bank digital currencies because of the sanctions that Russia is facing. Hiromi Yamaoka is a former head of payment and settlement systems at the Bank of Japan. They said the sanctions on Russia might cause more countries to look at digital versions of their own currencies as a way of protection against the dominant status of the dollar, especially when it comes to cross-border transactions. This could potentially form a currency bloc, and such a bloc could counter the U.S. dollar's dominance in international trade. He said, quote, defense and national security will likely become key themes when debating CBDC. And he went on to say that the most powerful sanctions the West has imposed on Russia were the freezing of foreign reserves. He said, quote, the most effective, powerful weapon was the freezing of Russia's foreign reserves. It meant U.S. allies intentionally created a situation that pushes Russia into default. He said, and I would agree with him, that we do need to be careful. We need to make sure that we aren't taking lightly this use of sanctions on financial infrastructures. Because they are so powerful, he said, that these are, quote, emergency means that should never be overused. Now, Edward Snowden, remember him? He is warning against CBDCs. It was during Camp Ethereal 2022 that he went on to say that these assets are a huge potential problem. He said the risk is very easy to illustrate. He said, and I would agree, that CBDCs give the government way too much control over their citizens' currency. Now, he likened it to Scrooge McDuck, saying that Scrooge had, quote, a giant vault of coins and dollar bills and things like that. And if he needs money, a giant magnet comes out over top of it, and it just pulls dollars out of everybody in everyone's town's pockets. Is that what a CBDC is, right? That's all it really is. Now, in the past, he has been vocal in his opposition to CBDCs. He described them as crypto-fascist currencies. He said they could, quote, casually annihilate the savings of every wage worker. Apecoin. Well, that was quick. It was just a couple of days ago we were talking about Yuga Labs and that they were going to be buying CryptoPunks and Meebits. And this is kind of the same but different, because Bored Ape holders are going to get another benefit for being in the club, but this benefit is not going to be brought by Yuga Labs. No, the Apecoin is going to be brought to you by the Apecoin DAO, decentralization. They want to keep this separate. None of the council members for the DAO are employees or executives at Yuga Labs. There's also going to be an organization called Ape Foundation. They're going to be carrying out the decisions of this DAO. Even so, Yuga Labs is the one that's going to be adopting Apecoin, quote, as the primary token for all new products and services. Now, presumably, this is going to include that blockchain game that they announced earlier this year. Also, Apecoin, which has the Bored Ape's skull for a logo, will be added to the Benji Bananas game. Apecoin started a Twitter thread with, quote, "Introducing Apecoin, a token for culture, gaming, and commerce used to empower a decentralized community building at the forefront of Web3. Apparently, there are a total of 1 billion Apecoins. Many of them have been distributed already. According to Apecoin's website, 9.75% of these tokens are going to be held by Yuga Labs. 14%, those are going to be given to, quote, launch contributors. 8%, those are going to go to the 4 founders of Yuga Labs. And, fittingly, another 6.25% is going to be donated to the Jane Goodall Legacy Foundation. So, if you are an ape holder, you can claim a share. 10,000 per Bored Ape, 2,000 per Mutant Ape. I'm not really sure how they came up with the delineation. Now, members of this DAO include Reddit's Alexis Ohanian, FTX's Amy Wu, Animoca's Yat Siu, Sound Ventures' Maria Bajwa, and Horizon Labs' Dean Steinbeck. Alexis Ohanian said, quote, "Today we are making the club bigger with Apecoin. Web3 is being integrated into our art, music, and culture more and more every day, and it all starts with community. I believe this community will build, expand, partner, and disrupt in a massive way." A spokesperson for Yuga Labs notes that they expect that the Ape token is going to begin trading, quote, soon on major exchanges. These exchanges include Coinbase, FTX, eToro, Kraken, OKX, Gemini, FTX, Binance, and Binance US. Well, we have run to the end of our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Now, let me ask you, what do you think? Which one is going to be next? Which country is going to be the next one to not only accept crypto as legal, but to give it legal tender status? Could be Turkey. They are still having significant inflation issues. Maybe the Tonga. Mexico, maybe. It seems like this idea has gotten some traction in Mexico lately. So, I don't know. What nation is going to be next? You tell me what you think. Send me an email at crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. That's crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. Now, I'm going to be on the road Saturday the 19th and again Wednesday the 23rd, so there'll be no show on those nights. Oh, and give Crypto in 5 minutes a lesson. We've got 33 educational podcasts and counting. 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And until next time, may peace